Did you know there's a mysterious indigenous group in Japan whose DNA holds secrets to one of humanity's most intriguing genetic puzzles? That group is the Ainu, a fascinating people whose origins, culture, and even physical traits set them apart from the rest of East Asia. Their DNA, in particular, is so distinct that scientists have spent decades unraveling its secrets, uncovering clues to ancient migrations, and even the dawn of human civilization. But what makes the Ainu's DNA so unique? And why is their genetic story so important for understanding not just Japan's history, but the history of humanity itself? The answers lie in an incredible journey through time, one that takes us back thousands of years to the ancient Jomon people, the original inhabitants of Japan. These hunter-gatherers left behind traces of their existence in the land, in the culture, and, most importantly, in the DNA of their Ainu descendants. Today, we'll delve deep into this captivating topic. We'll explore who the Ainu are, why their DNA stands out as a genetic anomaly, and what this tells us about ancient human migrations and evolution. From their cultural traditions to their genetic legacy, the Ainu's story is one of resilience, mystery, and profound significance. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have a newfound appreciation for the Ainu, their place in history, and the groundbreaking discoveries their DNA has unlocked. And before we dive in, let me ask you this. What do you think makes a population's DNA truly unique? Is it their isolation, their adaptation to specific environments, or something entirely different? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. Now, let's get started with the question. Who are the Ainu? To truly understand why the Ainu DNA is so unique, we first need to answer a fundamental question. Who are the Ainu? The Ainu are an indigenous people primarily from the northernmost island of Japan, Hokkaido, as well as the Kuril Islands and parts of Sakhalin, now part of modern Russia. Unlike the majority of the Japanese population, who have East Asian features and cultural traits, the Ainu have long stood out with their distinct physical appearance. They are often described as having wavy hair, lighter skin, and pronounced facial features, characteristics that have puzzled anthropologists and geneticists for centuries. But the Ainu aren't just unique in appearance. Their culture is unlike any other in East Asia. For thousands of years, the Ainu lived as hunter-gatherers, relying on the rich natural resources of their environment. They hunted bears, fished for salmon, and foraged in the dense forests of northern Japan. This deep connection to nature is a central theme in their traditions and spirituality. The Ainu practice an animistic belief system, which means they see the natural world as alive with spirits. Rivers, mountains, and even animals are believed to house divine beings, or kamui, who must be respected and honored. One of their most well-known rituals, the Iomet, involves the ceremonial sending off of a bear's spirit to the divine realm, symbolizing their gratitude for nature's bounty. Even their language is extraordinary. The Ainu language is a linguistic isolate, meaning it has no confirmed relatives among the world's languages. For centuries, it has been passed down orally, with rich stories, songs, and chants that reflect the Ainu worldview. Sadly, today the Ainu language is endangered, but there are ongoing efforts to preserve and revitalize it. So, what makes the Ainu so different from the rest of Japan? While most modern Japanese are descendants of the Ainu people, who migrated from Korea and China thousands of years ago, the Ainu trace their roots back even further, to the ancient Jomon people. The Jomon were hunter-gatherers who lived in Japan as far back as 14,000 years ago, long before the Ainu migrations. This deep connection to the Jomon is what makes the Ainu such a fascinating group to study. Their DNA provides a direct link to a population that existed in Japan during the last ice age, offering a rare glimpse into a bygone era of human history. But how did the Jomon and Ainu survive in such harsh environments? What did they inherit from their ancestors that allowed them to persist for thousands of years, even as other populations disappeared or blended into newer groups? To answer these questions, we need to dig deeper into the Ainu's genetic story. And trust me, it's one of the most fascinating chapters in human evolution. Now that we've set the stage by understanding who the Ainu are, let's dive into the heart of the mystery. What makes their DNA so unique? To understand the uniqueness of Ainu DNA, we first need to look at the Jomon people, their ancient ancestors. The Jomon were among the earliest known inhabitants of Japan, living there for over 10,000 years. They were hunter-gatherers who thrived in isolation, adapting to the rugged, often harsh environments of prehistoric Japan. Their DNA forms the backbone of the Ainu's genetic makeup, which is what sets the Ainu apart from most modern East Asians. When scientists compare the Ainu's DNA to that of modern Japanese populations, they find stark differences. Most Japanese today carry a mix of genetic material from two primary groups, the Jomon and the Yayoi. The Yayoi were agricultural migrants who came to Japan from Korea and China around 2,300 years ago, bringing rice farming and other advanced technologies. Over time, the Yayoi intermarried with the Jomon, creating the genetic blend that defines the majority of modern Japanese people. But the Ainu, they tell a different story. Genetic studies have shown that Ainu DNA is predominantly Jomon, with minimal Yayoi influence. This means the Ainu have preserved a genetic lineage that dates back tens of thousands of years, making them a living link to Japan's prehistoric past. One of the most fascinating aspects of Ainu DNA is their mitochondrial DNA, or mtDNA. This part of the genome is passed down from mothers to their children and is an excellent tool for tracing ancient lineages. Studies of Ainu mtDNA have revealed unique haplogroups, genetic markers, that are rarely found in other East Asian populations. Some of these markers show connections to ancient Siberian populations, suggesting the Ainu's ancestors may have had contact with or even migrated from regions far to the north. What's even more intriguing is how Ainu DNA reflects adaptations to their environment. For example, certain genetic traits suggest they were well suited to colder climates, which makes sense given their historical presence in Hokkaido and other northern territories. These adaptations may link them to other indigenous Arctic populations, like the Inuit or Evenki, despite their geographical separation. Another key distinction lies in the Ainu's lack of genetic markers commonly associated with agricultural populations. This supports the theory that the Jomon, and by extension the Ainu, remained hunter-gatherers long after neighboring groups had adopted farming. This unique lifestyle likely contributed to their genetic isolation and distinctiveness. But perhaps the most fascinating discovery is what Ainu DNA reveals about human migration. Their genetic makeup suggests connections to populations outside of East Asia, sparking debates about ancient migration routes. Did the ancestors of the Ainu travel across Siberia, mixing with Arctic peoples before reaching Japan? Or could their DNA hold clues to a migration path we haven't even considered yet? What's clear is that Ainu DNA doesn't fit neatly into the genetic tree of East Asia. Instead, it's a puzzle piece that challenges conventional narratives about the region's history and evolution. As researchers uncover more about their genetic profile, one thing becomes certain. The Ainu are not just a cultural treasure. They're also a scientific one, offering insights into ancient human survival, migration, and adaptation. But the story doesn't end there. Next, we'll explore the theories behind the Ainu's genetic ancestry and what their DNA might tell us about the distant past of our species. To truly understand the unique genetic profile of the Ainu, we need to explore some fascinating theories about their ancestry. These theories not only shed light on the origins of the Ainu, but also challenge what we know about human migration and evolution. The most widely accepted theory ties the Ainu to the ancient Jomon people, the original inhabitants of Japan. The Jomon culture flourished for thousands of years, beginning as far back as 14,000 years ago. Unlike the agricultural Yayoi who arrived later, the Jomon were hunter-gatherers who developed sophisticated tools, pottery, and fishing techniques. Their isolation on the Japanese islands allowed them to evolve distinct genetic traits, many of which are preserved in the Ainu today. But where did the Jomon themselves come from? This is where the theories start to diverge. One idea suggests that the Jomon, and by extension the Ainu, descended from populations that migrated from Southeast Asia during the last ice age. At that time, lower sea levels may have exposed land bridges, making it easier for ancient humans to move between regions. This theory is supported by some shared genetic markers between the Jomon and Southeast Asian populations, but it doesn't explain all of the Ainu's unique traits. Another compelling theory links the Ainu to Siberian and Arctic populations. Genetic studies have found surprising similarities between Ainu DNA and that of indigenous Arctic groups, such as the Evenki and Inuit. This has led some researchers to propose that the ancestors of the Ainu migrated from Siberia, traveling along the coastal routes before settling in Japan. These connections could also explain the Ainu's adaptations to colder climates, such as their metabolic traits and physical endurance. Then there's the possibility of a dual origin. This theory suggests that the Jomon themselves may have been a mix of two ancient populations, one from Southeast Asia and another from Siberia. Over thousands of years, these groups could have intermingled and evolved into the distinct Jomon culture. The Ainu, as direct descendants of the Jomon, would therefore carry genetic traits from both lineages, making them a unique blend of ancient human populations. But here's where it gets even more intriguing. Some researchers have noted that the Ainu's genetic markers don't fully align with any existing populations in East Asia, Siberia, or Southeast Asia. This has led to speculation that their ancestors might represent a completely separate migration wave, one that hasn't yet been documented in the archaeological record. Could the Ainu's ancestors have been part of an unknown migration that branched off from early humans as they left Africa? Or did they develop their unique traits through thousands of years of isolation on the Japanese islands? These are questions that geneticists and anthropologists are still trying to answer. One thing is certain. The Ainu are a genetic time capsule, preserving traits and lineages that have largely disappeared in other populations. Their DNA offers a rare glimpse into a world that existed tens of thousands of years ago, challenging our understanding of human history. As we piece together the story of the Ainu's genetic ancestry, we're not just learning about one group of people. We're uncovering new chapters in the story of humanity itself. Next, we'll explore the global implications of Ainu DNA and what it reveals about human evolution and migration. The uniqueness of Ainu DNA doesn't just tell us about their history. It has far-reaching implications for our understanding of human evolution, migration, and adaptation. In many ways, their genetic story is a critical piece of the global puzzle of humanity's past. Let's start with migration patterns. Ainu DNA provides valuable clues about how ancient humans spread across the globe. By analyzing genetic markers, scientists have traced connections between the Ainu and populations in Siberia, Southeast Asia, and even the Arctic. These findings suggest that the Ainu's ancestors might have been part of an ancient coastal migration route, one that moved along the edges of the Pacific Rim thousands of years ago. This challenges the traditional view of human migration, which often focuses on overland routes through Central Asia. If the Ainu's ancestors took a different path, perhaps moving along coastlines or island chains, it could mean there were multiple, parallel migrations happening at the same time. This revelation has the potential to rewrite entire chapters of human history. The Ainu's genetic makeup also raises important questions about adaptation. Their DNA contains traits that appear to have evolved in response to the cold, harsh environments of northern Japan and Siberia. These adaptations aren't just about survival, they're a testament to the resilience of ancient humans in the face of extreme challenges. Studying these traits could even have modern applications, such as understanding how humans adapt to climate change or to developing medical treatments for conditions linked to metabolism and temperature regulation. But perhaps the most profound implication of Ainu DNA is what it reveals about genetic diversity. Over the centuries, as populations have mixed and migrated, unique genetic lineages have often been lost. The Ainu, however, have preserved a genetic profile that is largely distinct from other East Asian groups. This makes them a living archive of humanity's past, one that can help us understand how different populations evolved and interacted. In fact, the Ainu's genetic diversity could hold answers to questions about ancient human interactions. Did the Jomon people, the Ainu's ancestors, interact with early Siberian groups, or were they part of an isolated population that developed independently? Could their DNA provide clues about other now-extinct human populations, similar to how Denisovan and Neanderthal DNA has shaped our understanding of prehistoric humans? There's also a cultural and ethical dimension to the study of Ainu DNA. For years, indigenous groups like the Ainu have been marginalized and their histories overlooked. Recognizing the importance of their genetic heritage isn't just a scientific endeavor. It's a way of honoring their place in humanity's shared story. By studying and preserving Ainu DNA, we're not just learning about the past. We're ensuring that their unique contribution to human history is never forgotten. This brings us to the broader picture. What does the Ainu's genetic story teach us about humanity as a whole? It shows us that human history is far more complex than we once thought. It's a story of migration, adaptation, and survival, a story that connects us all, even across vast distances and thousands of years. But there's still so much we don't know. Could the Ainu's DNA hold even more secrets about ancient migrations or lost civilizations? And what does their genetic legacy mean for the future of human diversity? These are questions that researchers are only beginning to explore. As we move into our next section, we'll take a closer look at the Ainu today, their struggles, their resurgence, and their efforts to preserve their culture and identity in a rapidly changing world. The story of the Ainu doesn't end with their genetic legacy. Today, the Ainu face a different kind of challenge, preserving their identity, culture, and traditions in the modern world. For centuries, the Ainu were marginalized and discriminated against. When Japan began its rapid modernization in the late 19th century, Ainu lands in Hokkaido were seized, and the government enforced policies aimed at assimilating the Ainu into mainstream Japanese society. Their language was banned in schools, their customs were discouraged, and their unique identity was systematically erased. This loss of cultural autonomy had devastating effects. Many Ainu were forced to abandon their traditional ways of life, and their language, already an oral tradition, began to fade. By the mid-20th century, the Ainu were often stigmatized and viewed as an inferior or vanishing people. But in recent years, there has been a powerful resurgence of Ainu pride and cultural revival. In 2019, Japan officially recognized the Ainu as an indigenous people for the first time in its history, a monumental step toward acknowledging their rights and contributions to the nation. This recognition has spurred new efforts to preserve Ainu culture, language, and traditions. Language revitalization is a major focus of this movement. Ainu activists and educators are working to teach the Ainu language to younger generations through schools, workshops, and digital resources. Songs, chants, and stories once passed down orally are now being recorded and archived to ensure they're not lost to time. Cultural practices, too, are being revived. Ainu festivals and ceremonies, such as the Iomet bear-sending ritual, are now celebrated publicly, helping to raise awareness about Ainu heritage. Traditional crafts like embroidery, wood carving, and weaving are being rediscovered and shared with the world. Modern Ainu leaders are also advocating for greater representation and political rights. Organizations like the Ainu Association of Hokkaido work tirelessly to improve the social and economic conditions of the Ainu community while promoting their unique identity. Interestingly, science has also played a role in the Ainu resurgence. Genetic studies highlighting the uniqueness of Ainu DNA have brought international attention to their heritage. This research has reinforced the importance of preserving Ainu culture, as it represents a living connection to an ancient lineage that might otherwise be lost. The Ainu story is a reminder of the resilience of indigenous peoples around the world. Despite centuries of hardship, the Ainu have held on to their identity and are now finding new ways to thrive. Their efforts serve as an inspiration, showing us the importance of embracing and celebrating cultural diversity. But there's still work to be done. Many Ainu still face economic and social challenges, and the scars of historical discrimination remain. Continuing to support their efforts, whether through education, cultural preservation, or political advocacy, is essential to ensuring their unique legacy endures. As we've seen, the Ainu are more than just a fascinating genetic story. They are a living, breathing culture with a history of resilience and a future full of potential. By learning about their past and supporting their present, we can help ensure that the Ainu's voice continues to be heard for generations to come. The story of the Ainu is a testament to the complexity and diversity of human history. From their ancient Jomon roots to their distinct genetic markers, the Ainu offer a rare glimpse into a bygone era, challenging our understanding of human migration, adaptation, and survival. Their DNA isn't just unique. It's a key that unlocks mysteries about humanity's past. It tells the story of a people who thrived in isolation for thousands of years, preserving traits and lineages that have largely disappeared in the modern world. But the Ainu story is also one of resilience. Despite centuries of marginalization, they continue to fight for their cultural survival, reclaiming their traditions and identity in a rapidly changing society. So, what does all of this mean for the rest of us? The Ainu remind us of the importance of preserving cultural and genetic diversity. In a world where globalization often erases unique identities, their story is a powerful example of why we must celebrate and protect the richness of human heritage. But there are still unanswered questions. Could the secrets hidden in Ainu DNA rewrite the story of ancient human migrations? Are there other populations, lost to history, that we have yet to discover? And how can we ensure that indigenous cultures like the Ainus are not just remembered but empowered to thrive in the future? As we ponder these questions, it's clear that the Ainu are not just a chapter in Japan's history. They're an essential part of humanity's shared story. By studying their DNA, listening to their voices, and supporting their cultural revival, we can ensure that the Ainu's legacy endures for generations to come. Now, it's your turn. What did you find most fascinating about the Ainu? Was it their genetic uniqueness, their cultural traditions, or their incredible resilience? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this journey into the mysteries of the Ainu, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more fascinating discoveries. Together, we'll continue exploring the untold stories of our past and the secrets that connect us all. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.